Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet FPL, the world where everything revolves around Fantasy Premier League, or at least it does for the last time in this godforsaken year, James. My name's Suj.
My name is James.
I don't know if it's a godforsaken year. I think it's not been the worst year ever. It just feels like it right now, maybe.
Yeah, Champions of Europe. I know what I am. I mean, I've got a few more months left of it, right? So I might as well enjoy
it. Yeah. Enjoy it while you can.
Because it won't be happening again.
If there's ever a feeling of imposter syndrome, it might be your club right now. Being and playing Champions League football, calling yourselves champions of Europe. Yeah. But look, you won at the weekend and you kept a clean sheet. And I'd give my right arm and probably my left foot for that right now.
Yeah, you're making it very difficult for me to moan about Tottenham at the
moment. Listen, we're going to wrap up Gameweek 18 that has just finished now. We've got, 24 hours, and then Gameweek 19 starts tomorrow. So it's a quick turnaround with a whole hope of games tomorrow evening and then on Thursday evening as well. So people will be making their decisions and their transfer decisions fairly quickly. There hasn't been the hugest amount of price rises and falls in the last 24, 48 hours since the last deadline. I guess because people had used a lot of transfers in the build-up, we'd seen a lot more kind of price movements then. Maybe people are waking up today to kind of make decisions on what they do and don't need to fix with a few injuries and things like that happening.
A few people had their defences absolutely decimated over the last 3 or 4 days as collections of Rodons, Ballards, Richards, Timber, Dart, a few others as well.
Calafiori didn't start, obviously. Yeah. He's in my team as well. Lucky for me, he's the only flag that I am carrying at the moment. We'll go into our teams and we'll talk about all of that good stuff and cover off the matches as well. James, you beat me this week, whopping 5 points. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, can do. 43 points. Small red arrow back to about 300k this week. We'll take it. For the second week in a row, Suj, my game week has been saved by a budget goalkeeper.
Martin 11
Dubravka's 11 points following on from Bart Verbruggen's 11 points last week. Otherwise, there was just a few assists knocking about. Harry Wilson, Declan Rice, Igor Thiago, Hugo Ekitike. That's basically my week. Lost Timber. Had Bruno Guimaraes auto sub in. Nothing from the 3 City boys, including Captain Haaland, Hincapi 1-pointer, Virgil van Dijk 2-pointer. Nothing really to write home about. A very unmemorable FPL game week. You said some people are going to be making some decisions. Mine are done, Suj. So I made 2 free transfers on Saturday night. So Keenan Dewsbury Hall for Matthias Cunha.
Yep.
And to make that happen with Gabriel's return, I've binned Hincapi, because that's now going to be very quickly isn't he going to play? Hincapi down to Alderete, and that leaves me the money comfortably after this week to go Van Dijk back to Gabriel.
Makes sense.
Should I decide to want to do that. And then I'm set pretty long term. Harry Wilson be my 8th attacker. Alderete be my 5th defender. He is a nicer pick for me because I've got Malik Chow. So always one of them at home, and the rotation Newcastle, Sunderland is actually okay. Chow is useful for me over forthcoming weeks. So I feel set, hopefully, but injuries keep getting in the way and forcing stuff to happen.
So the trend continues, James. You just keep buying the players that I own. You now own Alderete and Cunha. I'm about to sell Calafiori for Gabriel, depending
it's
on the
amazing
news.
that I'm beating you and yet keep buying the players.
The players that I've it's probably happened 3-4 weeks in a row. Maybe I'm not holding on to players long enough, shown by the fact that I sold Semenyo last week and he scored.
Hold on. Talk about ahead of my time. I wildcarded in game week 13 with Morgan Rogers and Kevin Schade.
That's very true. And before they went on their tear up, so you got rid of them both. Very, very interesting. It's funny, if you'd said to me, look, so game week 13, I was at 330k. That was my season high so far. I'm now down at 870. So in 4 weeks, I've dropped. I had a look on Live FPL where you can see how many points you are to a certain rank. I'm 37 points from where I was over 4 weeks. It's about 6, 7, 8 points a week that I've been behind the curve. if you'd said to me, yeah, James is going to smash you over those 4 weeks because of Dewsbury Hall, then Harry Wilson, then Bart Verbruggen, and then Martin Dubravka, I'd be like, what? It's these fringe players that have really come up trumps, whereas I seem to be missing everything in the last few weeks. Despite this week, I obviously had Robert Sanchez and I played him ahead of Dubravka. I sold at the start of the week, obviously, Petrovic for Sanchez. I sold Bruno Fernandes.
Sorry, can we just jump in here? Because you sent this brilliant tweet out at the weekend about Petrovic.
Yeah.
Check the scores. This is during the Brentford ball.
It was around half time, around half time.
Check the scores and was fuming about Petrovic conceding 2 and 1 being an own goal, which, if you haven't seen it, by the way, folks, is like, yeah, it's Keystone Cop stuff. 5 minutes later, remembered I sold him this week for Sanchez.
Yeah.
Celebrate. Yeah, but here's the irony. Had you kept Petrovic, you probably would have started Dubravka.
Well, this is it. That's what I'm going to say. So, obviously, look, I've got Xhaka. I've got Xhaka and Cunha had come in. I'd sold Bruno Fernandes, and it was my other midfielder I sold. I bought Ekitike, Bowen, Cunha, and Sanchez this week. Xhaka had come in previously. So Xhaka came off the bench for Calafiori, but then obviously, if Semenyo had been fit, maybe I wouldn't have made all of those moves, and I would have kept Semenyo and sold Bruno Fernandes had I not moved early on my transfer. If you remember, I sold too early to make that move. So all in all, I actually didn't end up points up, despite Petrovic conceding 4 goals and scoring an own goal. I had 3 returns this week, James. 3 assists: Declan Rice, Granit Xhaka, and Hugo Ekitike. I captained Ekitike over Haaland. So after Haaland's blank, I was quite hopeful that maybe there is some upside here on this. It ended up not being massive. Yeah, 38 points, not great. Like, I still look at my team. There's no like real stinkers in there. You've got Robert Sanchez and Dubravka as a goalkeeper pairing's all right, especially after this week. O'Reilly, Lacroix, Van Dijk, Calafiori, and Alderete. Lacroix and Van Dijk have been disappointing the last couple of weeks to be continuously not picking up any returns from them. I mean, Lacroix, there was one I watched on the highlights. There was when he headed it across and Mateta had the chance, and then the second one was he had a goal and an assist were on the cards for him. Had Mateta been able to finish that header, so missed a few bits there. All right, so be it. Cunha looked lively in the first half. Actually, I would say the best way I describe Cunha is he looks quite fit at the moment and quite energetic. So I've got no concerns around Cunha, but it is frustrating to get nothing out of him. Though his good fixture start this week, really, let's say so. Overall, it's just a bit of a slog at the moment, to be honest with you. No major fires to put out. I haven't heard any news on Calafiori. And depending on what I hear, it'll be Calafiori to Gabriel is an easy move. I've got $1.5 million in the bank, so that's what I will do. I'm not overly
I'd be amazed
excited.
If Gabriel didn't start this week.
Yeah, and I mean,
the game's too big now, right?
What's the diagnosis on Calafiori?
Don't know. And by the way, you're probably not going to get any updates today. There's no Mikel Arteta press conference tonight.
Right. So I will probably be buying Gabriel.
Well, look, Sunderland's definitely just gone, yeah, and what use is that, James? You're right. It wouldn't have told you anything anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've got enough money to do it. It will leave me 0.6 in the bank. I'll still have 1 free transfer to roll. So yeah, I'll see how I feel, but I'll probably just get that done, to be honest with you. Okay.
Is that it? Have you got any other frees available or just the one?
No, just the one. I'm struggling. I had the same problem last season. I can't keep a clean sheet for love nor money at the back, and particularly goalkeepers. I always seem to be missing clean sheets. I think I've had one in about 6 or 7 weeks. That was Petrovic against Chelsea, which was an unexpected one as well. So really struggling. It is making me feel like David Raya is actually the answer to my goalkeeper problems.
You say that, but like
they
David
didn't keep
Raya,
a clean sheet.
If you go and
Liverpool didn't keep a clean
now,
sheet. Man City didn't keep a clean sheet. I get it.
It's 6 million or so. Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly 6.
And I'm just 9, 11, 13, 19, 22. So you've got to go back the last 6 weeks of David Raya to match what I've got for Bruggen and Dubravka over the last two.
Yeah, but it's the timing of getting it right.
No, I get it. I get it. But obviously, I'm pretty happy with that goalkeeper combination, right? Cheaped it out. No intention to change that. I realise at the moment as well, it looks a bit messy in terms of Arsenal defence. That'll clear up. I'm fairly certain. Like, I have no intention of getting rid of Timber. For me, it's
Yep.
set now. Timber, Gabriel. Once Gabriel's back in, boom, they're left until one of them's like a long-term injury.
The only other player that I want to sell, but I don't know how I'm going to be able to do it or where I would even go right now is Jared Bowen. And that's probably as much for my own sanity as it is for anything else.
No, you've got to leave that next three, mate.
I know I've got to, but it's going to be painful. Like, I'm going to enjoy bombing him out as soon as I get the opportunity, to be honest with you. Even if I
put
did,
him in.
yeah, yeah. But that it's like this. I think I might just take your approach from a couple of seasons ago and just no longer entertain owning any West Ham players.
No, what you should do is take on my approach of copying you. So basically, this week you're going to buy Gabriel.
No. Well, I tell you what, I didn't put it out on Twitter at the weekend, but I was thinking, I've cracked the secret to success for FPL now. Target West Ham and just pick players that I don't own, and you'll be fine. But the problem is that strategy won't work for me because there are my own players that I've got in my team. I seem to be cursing players at the moment. And when you've got Calvert-Lewin, who's on such a tear at such a price as well, the amount of money it would put in the bank for me could potentially turn a Foden into Cole Palmer when their good run comes, for example, potentially. So, yeah.
Calvert-Lewin is on a tear, but I don't want to tear up my team for it, man.
No. And you're right. Look, I can't sell Jared Bowen at the moment with the next three coming up, but I do want to sell Jared Bowen. But listeners will be well aware that that's as much personal bias as it is actually that Jared Bowen is not doing well at the moment. He should have scored at the weekend.
Yes, he should have.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we do content schedule and then we'll do
games?
What
have we got coming up for the week?
It's another game review podcast for you on Friday, following obviously the New Year's Day fixtures. Tomorrow is a Clash of Correspondence.
That'll be David Hunter on that one, won't it?
I'll be flying David back to on that Portugal. One. Obviously, Liverpool playing New Year's Day. My team's playing New Year's Day as well. Clash of Correspondence Tuesday is Liverpool versus Leeds with Dan Lord and Ed Salinger. We'll have that out early for you tomorrow because obviously it is deadline tomorrow. It will be deadline streams on Tuesday and on Saturday for those on YouTube. Tom Campbell is guest hosting our quiz for 2025. That'll be out for New Year's Eve. Me and Tom recorded that over the weekend. I think you'll enjoy that. That's good fun. That'll be out for you on New Year's Eve. No content New Year's Day. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. Plenty more content available on there, including today's Patreon Q&A, which David will be joining me for. That is available to all patrons today. That includes free members. Me and Suj will be taking a deeper dive into Tottenham and West Ham and misery on Wednesday. And yes, I still feel miserable about my football club. And we've got Game Week preview podcast, the differential show on Tuesday and Friday. There's also team news streams for advanced patrons and intermediate patrons tomorrow for the team news stream. Just advanced tier patrons on Friday. Away days from Crystal Palace will be out later today. Midweek FPL Dilemma on Wednesday as well. www.patreon.com/Planet FPL. And before we do the game, Suj, unless you want to promote something else from Patreon.
Nah, just that people will know that they can interact with all of our Slack community. Anybody that's been enjoying having a month of free content and bits and pieces, if you sign up as a free member and you're considering it, we'd love to have you over there in the community with the prize leagues and James's fixture planning spreadsheet. Keeping it moving all through Christmas week. James has got plenty of content coming out. I've got bits and pieces that I'm on as well. Looking forward to it all. So yeah, come and support the show. Patreon.com/Planet FPL. And if you don't worry. We will not give you a yellow or red card from being a free member where you still get the best bits every week. And we might chuck out the odd podcast as well. But who has got yellow cards, James? Tell me.
I was going to say the patrons have had the additional content in December. Sorry, you are suspended again from January. You are back to your regular tier. That'll be for Game Week 20, and there'll be others who could yet be suspended in Game Week 20. As far as I'm aware, there are 3 new suspensions for Game Week 19. Andre of Wolves, very importantly, that had an influence on me a little bit in terms of buying Cunha. I don't know what Wolves are going to do in midfield against Manchester United, although maybe Manchester United don't either. Matty Cash and Boubacar Kamara both suspended for Aston Villa in that big game at Arsenal tomorrow. The five yellow
I bet Arsenal
cards.
will be well happy about that.
Yes, absolutely. It's a bonus. I mean, they don't have great alternatives at right back, Villa. Bogard would probably be the best for this particular fixture to put there. But Bogard probably for this fixture is the best one to put in place for Kamara as well. So he ain't going to play both positions. It's not ideal. Five yellow cards. This is the last week where a player can get suspended for hitting five yellow cards. So if you've got a player on four yellows, if they make it through this next fixture, you do not need to worry about it until they hit 10. I think it's 10 yellow cards before, I think, game week 32, but don't quote me on that, but it's in the game week 30s, will result in a two-match suspension. So Christian Romero on 7 yellow cards. He's the closest to that. I'm just going to run through all the players that are on 4 yellow cards because I think there's influence. Not all of them are fantasy relevant, but they might be things like Kamara missing for Villa is relevant in terms of Arsenal for this week, for example. So Bournemouth have got 3 players, Alex Jimenez, Cliver and Antoine Semenyo, all on 4 yellow cards. Brentford have 2, Collins and Kiyode. Brighton, Kadioglu and Vifa. I'm not going to read out the players who are AFCON, by the way. That's obviously irrelevant. Moises Caicedo of Chelsea is on 4 yellow cards. Remember, if he's suspended this week, he misses the trip to Manchester City in game week 20. Palace have Hughes and Lerma, both picked up their 4th yellow cards yesterday. James, Tarkovsky, Vitaly Mikalenko, James Garner, all of Everton going to their fixture at Nottingham Forest on 4 yellows. Harry Wilson of Fulham is now on 4 yellows. Jaden Bogle, Ethan Ampadu of Leeds on 4 yellows. They've been carrying that for a while. So too is Ibrahim Konate of Liverpool. Donnarumma, Bernardo Silva and Gonzalez, Man City, also been carrying 4 yellows for a while.
Donnarumma's a crazy one. It's always time wasting.
Time wasting.
Every single one is time wasting.
Patrick Dorgu, he might be flavour for people this week. He's on 4 yellow cards.
I don't even know how he's played enough fixtures to get 4 yellows, Dorgu.
Well, it's questionable. So too Bruno Guimaraes is on 4 yellows. Milenkovic, Williams, Morato and Elliot Anderson, all of Nottingham Forest on 4 yellows, and they go to Villa at the weekend. Granit Xhaka has been carrying 4 yellows for a while for Sunderland. Enzo Lefebvre and Trey Hume also on 4 yellows. Tottenham have 5 players who go into the trip to Brentford on 4 yellows before they themselves play Sunderland. Porro, Danso, Van der Ven, Bentancur and Richarlison all on 4 yellows. And so too is Matt Doherty of Wolves. There are no West Ham players walking the suspension.
What? I have words for that, but
unfortunate.
We swear. No, we swear on this podcast. But the words that I want to use about the application of some of my players, I don't want them to be getting yellow cards, but I would want to see a little bit more aggression that might get them a few yellow cards from time to time. Read into that what you will. Flaky. No bottle. Anyway, we'll get to it. Because you can sit like you'd think that when you're in there in the dogfight, you're going to put your boot in a little bit. You might run the risk of picking up a yellow or 2. No players on 4 yellow cards, apart from the obvious, who we've all put our weekly bet on to pick up a yellow card, who's already served his suspension.
Well, I was going to say, in fairness, you've already had a couple that have served it. Didn't Kilman have a suspension as well, I want to say?
Did he? I don't know if Kilman's get 5.
No, Kilman didn't, hit, so I'm lying.
Yeah.
You just wish he was suspended.
Just Lucas Piquet. He was better at the weekend, but that's not saying much. Let's get into talk of some of these games. We'll be as quick as we can with a quick turnaround to the next deadline. Manchester United 1 and Newcastle 2.
Was it? What was the score, Suj?
Why am I thinking 2-0? 1-0 to Manchester United. I was about to say
Newcastle could have played till 2 a.m. and they would have scored.
I don't know. I was about to say a game of 2 halves because obviously United really were good in the first half. And then I was trying to figure out in the second half if there's because Amarim's substitutions remind me a lot of Nuno, where he's just bringing on defenders and completely has no formation other than just bodies on the pitch. I was like, is there something in the Portuguese water that makes managers do that, being that they're both from my home nation? I didn't know what was going on. Newcastle were getting more and more control in the game, though. Do you think they just didn't have the cutting edge to finish it off?
Strange game. I watched a few this weekend. It's a great result for Manchester United. And obviously, interesting with the system we'll talk about in a second. But like they were fortunate to get over the line. At the same time, Newcastle, you could look at it and go, completely dominated a whole half of football at Old Trafford, but didn't create massive big chances like Lemons didn't make. It feels like a great save in
Then
the second
one
half.
in the second half, Newcastle had one big chance, XG of one.
Yeah, it's probably the Gordon one he blazed over. He's nearly put that into the upper tier.
Yeah, I mean their possession 67% at Old Trafford for Newcastle.
Well, Manchester United just couldn't keep hold of that ball in the second half once Mason Mount went off. Young boy Fletcher came on. I can barely remember him touching the ball, actually.
Yeah,
He's one of two twins, isn't he? They're Darren Fletcher's
yep,
sons. It was Jack
yep.
Fletcher who came on. They're so short now, United, with that Mount injury. This was definitively 100% a back four.
Yep.
Over recent weeks, is it hybrid? What is it? Without a doubt, this was a back four. For me, it was like a 4-2-3-1 with Cunha on the left, but complete license to move inside. Mount as a 10, Patrick Dorgu, right winger. I don't think any of us saw that coming. Even when they tried to kid Newcastle in the lineup, didn't they? Because they were doing like a defensive headers routine where they had Martinez to the right of Heaven and Shaw to the left as like the back three. And Newcastle obviously tried to change tactics really early in the game, didn't they? Aaron Ramsdale had this convenient injury after about 9 minutes, which is goalkeeper can't go off. We've seen loads of this from several teams recently. And actually got Newcastle a foothold in the game, but I think they changed stuff out because I think they had players doing man-to-man jobs. And obviously Manchester United setup was nowhere near what they expected, so they had to move the parts around. Then actually Newcastle were better. I felt Gimrez had a header, which actually was probably ended up being their best effort of the game, which Lamans kept out in the first half. Dorgu scores this brilliant goal and looked threatening. And I think it's interesting that the players without other key players can take on a bit of an initiative. I think for Dorgu, he realised I've got a ball carry here. I'm the one. When in the second half, United trying to transition, even after he'd moved to the left-hand side later in the game, it was like, if I get on it, I've got to carry the thing. And they ended up with Dorgu playing left wing and Dalot playing right wing. And it did still stay as a back four. But obviously, by consequence of that, that just ended up becoming a back six, basically, didn't it? Yeah, I think Manchester United can take the positive out the result. And I think it's a positive sign about the system change. But I'd concern about lack of bodies. So me and Clates discussed this recently about us all, many of us all thinking for a long time it should go to a back four. But now it feels a bit weird to me. Because I don't, what are the other options as the wide forwards? Like it's Dorgu and what Cunha, fine. So what is Jack Fletcher going to play as a 10?
I'm trying to have a look on the bench and see if there's anything interesting. Maybe
Xerxes
yeah,
and Sesko,
Xerxes out
isn't
in the
it?
wide.
But I
Maybe.
think part, and I thought Sesko played all right, by the way. The part danger with that is you go, right, put them all in, and it's Casemiro, Ugarte. I actually thought Ugarte was okay as well, actually, in the game. But what you then bringing off the bench for them? So with Mount, unfortunately, probably got to assume he's out for a while now. If he's gone off at half time. Amrim said that Mount wanted to continue.
No, I heard someone said there was video of him training yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sure it was on the above average. I listened to the first half an hour of that, and someone had said Mount had been on grass.
Okay.
So unless they're lying, which I mean, you know these things.
Dominic Solanke was on grass 4 months ago, so I realise it's a bit different.
Mount injury. I'm going to search it, James.
He's quite cautionary on injuries, though. Amrim, like he doesn't push players too hard, and particularly a player like Mount, who's had history of issues. So if Mount does say play Wolves Thursday, is he then going to play Leeds Sunday and Burnley Wednesday? It might make more sense just to leave him out for the Wolves game anyway.
Yeah, he felt something, is what they're saying. So
with Cunha, I think you can have a narrative either way because clearly what I'm saying is that's problematic for Manchester United offensively in these forthcoming games. No Fernandes, Bumo, Diallo, etc. The flip is he's got to take on a talismanic role. I also wondered if Mount was out, what that would mean for him because I think he's got to go deeper even more, help with the build-up. But actually, I think it might help him in terms of his creativity aspects to the game as well. I think it could go either way. I'd put him in for the 3 fixtures to punt it because I just think they're great. You've got Wolves and Burnley over the next 3. Leeds away looks rough. I mean, if Manchester United go to Leeds with the team that they finished with on Friday night, they'll get beat at Leeds. But I'm happy to go in and punt that for a few games. I think I'd have regretted it more if I didn't go there. On the defensive ones, I know there's quite a bit of traction for Dallo, who should have scored actually in the second half. All that ball Newcastle had, the best chance of the second half went to Dallo, which was abysmally defended by Newcastle. Dallo is interesting, Dorgu's interesting, and Aiden Heaven is interesting. I went with Alderete rather than any of these guys as an enabling defender, and that's because I don't want to piss about at that price bracket. I want the guy to go in to be safe and secure for me. Now, Dallo, I think in the long term, could even get edged out of this team because I think Dorgu has recently shown traits of actually maybe being more suitable to what Amrin wants in terms of his system, particularly when they press on and off the ball. Dallo, I think, still has weaknesses from that perspective. So when Diallo's back, it wouldn't shock me if we end up with Diallo and Dorgu if he maintains form as wing backs. But can we be certain that Dorgu's going to stay in? No. With Dorgu, it would have been like this is really sweet for me for a couple of games. And it might work for people. So people have got something like, say, Chris Richards, and they're like, I'm not sure if he's going to be back this week or not. Maybe Dorgu fix your problem in the short term, but I don't think it lasts long term.
I mean, look, the other problem is don't forget 4 yellow cards, right? I'm looking at the move. I talked about Calafiori to Gabriel, and obviously Villa isn't the greatest of fixtures for Arsenal. I could daisy chain Dorgu to Gabriel, but I wouldn't want to do it for just one transfer, which is one fixture, which is Wolves at home. Because imagine, I buy Dorgu, great, I got Wolves at home, but he picks up a yellow card, then misses the next fixture.
But then I wouldn't.
It's Burnley after that, so
maybe it's
all right, and then I can make a call on whether or not I want Lacroix. I want to turn Lacroix or Van Dijk into Gabriel instead, which is all right. But then it does leave me with a 4.0 and a 4.1 in my defence, which I don't want long term. So come Burnley, then I want to go back to something else afterwards. It's a daisy chain for me if I do it.
But do you want a daisy chain with like 4.0s and shit like that?
No. But Dorgu, but remember, like in so many other teams, if you had a 4.1 million defender playing as a right winger in an attacking system, we'd all be all over it as an OOP.
But the game's not the same anymore.
Yeah, you're right. I get
I agree
it.
with you, by the way.
I would love to be.
If someone wants to go there and wants to punt it for a couple of weeks, I'm absolutely fine with it. But I don't think we're looking at something here where we go, this is great long term.
Gabriel with his head could easily pick up a goal against Aston Villa and outscore Dorgu, and then I'll be kicking myself. So I think
wouldn't not play Gabriel in any game, mate.
Exactly. It's not play. It's not buy him. Like daisy chain Dorgu to Gabriel. So then I miss Gabriel for Villa at home. I think they'll keep a clean sheet in that Villa game as well. To be honest with you,
I think Dorgu is a nice. I'm almost certain he'll play as a winger again against Wolves, which first and foremost, that's good. I think he's a short-term fix for those who are like, say you've got like Rodon and Richards or something like that. You're like, and I've got no money in the bank. Like, what am I going to do here? Fine, put him in. I don't mind that because you won't want to go say the route I've gone Alderete, but he's sitting last on my bench. No one wants to go and buy Alderete and play him against City, do they? So I get it. So for certain people, it's going to work. And Aiden Heaven is another option. My concern with Aiden Heaven, he's been outstanding recently for Manchester United. And I think you look at it on the eye and you think he'll stay in there because he's playing really well. But ultimately, they are without Maguire and De Ligt at the moment. And for the pair of them, they're favoured as playing the central centre-back as well, rather than right-sided position. He's used De Ligt to the side of Maguire quite a bit when he's needed to. But those two are directly going to come back in and impact that central centre-back position. Heaven as a right-sided centre-back, I'm not sure about that. And also Matt Swery, when he comes back from AFCON, is another player that we forget. So again, if you want these guys short, if it was going to go there at the moment, I'd go Dorgu because I'd think there's the upside of that in the real short term, but I don't think they're great long-term options. I wouldn't be looking at Sesko like you as bowing out. I don't like it.
No.
Bother at the moment.
No. He had one
Cunha,
try. Yeah.
Cunha's perfectly fine. He may be on the pens. We're not sure. I think he probably will pick up a bit of talisman stuff. He's definitely, by the way, going to frustrate you if you own him at some point in these next few weeks. Hopefully, that'll probably be at Leeds next weekend rather against Wolves because, again, Andre being suspended, I don't know what Wolves do in that area. So in a weird way, if Cunha's dropping deep, one of his greatest traits is obviously ball carrying. Yeah, I'm happy to take the move on him.
You're still sitting on two Newcastle. Anyone you want to add? I've had questions around Lewis Hall being sent in on Twitter. Lewis Miley's had a price rise already though, 4.5 to 4.4 to 4.5. A lot of people just bench filler there, isn't he? Really.
Yeah, so Newcastle
Voltemade
will
had a price
appeal.
drop and then a price rise as well in the last game week.
Newcastle will appeal because next four fixtures are brilliant. It's at top of my ticker. Trips to bottom two, Burnley and Wolves, home games, always decent at home, Palace and Leeds. And then it's Villa at home afterwards. It's the sort of game they actually get themselves quite well up for. So I'm on Chow and Gimrez. Gimrez obviously is walking the four yellows. If Gimrez got booked this week, I currently have the exact money to turn Gimrez into Rodgers. He's a kind of out for me. But I'm probably going to keep Gimrez for these few fixtures, I think, then reassess that. And I've got Malik Chow. Malik Chow will play for me at Burnley. The intention is to play Bruno Gimrez in that fixture as well. I think Gimrez might get left out for one of these games of this decent run, like he was left out, say, for the midweek fixture at home to Tottenham. He still come on and scored in that fixture, so I think it's forgotten about. Chow's going to have to play the majority of the games. With Lewis Hall, Eddie Howe said last week, he said, we're probably going to have to manage him over this period. Now, it's the one that stands out because, again, he hit this terrific shot that came off the crossbar on Friday night. But I don't think you can be certain of the starts. And again, I don't know if this player is worth picking up over the centre back
Yeah.
at the moment. Chow won't get many for DEFCONs. You might not get them at all in any of these games, but you're secure of minutes. So personally, if it's Chow versus Hall, I'd go Chow at the moment. I wouldn't actually at this moment probably buy any Newcastle player at this moment. I see them going to Burnley and it being an ugly little tight scrap. And at the moment, they're not doing well in those sort of games. I think they probably go there and win. But I thought they'd go to Manchester United and win. So if someone's got a forward problem, but I don't imagine they do, fine Voltemade. But Vissa's going to nick his minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if Vissa started at Burnley. It feels like the right game for him to start, I think. So I wouldn't go there. Gordon, anyone who's been there is going to say, don't do that. I wouldn't go and buy Gimrez at this moment. Four yellows, you can't. But it's also another reason, I think, for me to hold.
Yep. Yeah, it makes sense. Alrighty,
arguably, if I wanted to buy Malik Chow will fix a few defensive problems that I think people have got this week. And where are they now, Newcastle? 14th or something?
Yeah, they're down there.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went on a run here, though. The other thing for Newcastle to consider is obviously Carabao Cup semis and Champions League. Like, got a mental. So, like that with Lewis Hall. You got semi-finals against Man City, two Champions League games, which have got to win both to have any chance of finishing top eight. The last one's at PSG. Is Lewis Hall throughout January going to play all four of them cup games and all the Premier League games? No, he's not. Malik Chow might.
Yep. All right, let's talk about Forest 1, Manchester City 2. Once again, Manchester City unchanged.
Yes, that's going to change soon. Um, it won't last forever, folks. But yeah, I said this in one of the pieces last week. Like, it is quite ironic at the moment that Pep feels like the one we can probably rely on for team selection.
Yeah. It seems pretty reliable. I mean, look, they've come through here. They had more of the game, if not maybe more of the chances on the stats. I didn't get to watch this fixture. They had more of the shots,
really
but
good fun second half.
Didn't look like they dominated. Like Forest had a few chances today.
Absolutely, yeah. I think after Forest equalised, the game was in the balance. Because Forest is so dangerous on transition. I mean, the goal they scored is absolutely fantastic. Two brilliant bits of link-up play involving Morgan Gibbs-White that leads to Igor Jesus assisting for Hutchinson. Yeah, lovely goal they got. I mean, it murdered City on the transition there. So I think City then became very conscious of that as the game went on. It looked like a goal, like more like when a team's 3-0 up than 1-0 up. They got burnt, really, on it, City.
Yep.
Rangers tripped up the ball when they were like right outside Forest penalty box. As I said, they broke really well. Yeah, it was in the balance. It didn't feel unwinnable for Forest at all. Teams are going to go there and have a difficult game. I found that myself very recently. I wasn't certain that City were going to win it. But what they've got at the moment, they've got this narrowness and compactness where it's like to the eye, you're looking at it going, Foden and Cherky are basically playing the wide positions. And yet, look at the positions they end up in terms of the chances they have in the game. I know the Turkey one ends up from a corner, but you had one where he dribbled centrally earlier. Foden had this effort after brilliant kind of tight play. Cherky's assist for Reinders. He ends up in the left half space. Really cute that, by the way. Foden's one over to the left-hand side, draws a player out. Cherky comes all the way from the right to fill that space. Then Reinders, that's his greatest strength. I think he's running in behind. And Cherky's the sort of player who can find the pass, right? I still don't know if he's left or right-footed particularly. He's a great option, FPL, I think.
6.7 million right now.
He's a great option. If you're not on Free City, I'd strongly consider going now.
Yeah, it's only one
I'm
blank.
not pissing
like
about with mine to get there. No way.
Yeah, I guess it hurts when Foden's blanked in a couple in a row where you're like, okay, have I missed it? When he had
to watch Chase
four
Foden's
double-digit.
He's blanked in a couple.
So it's Chase Cherky now.
Foden was so unlucky not to score, man. So I'm in no way worried about that. With Foden, it's more like an awareness of what happens next. Because we're sitting here now going, oh, he's not changed the team for a number of weeks. But we knew that Doku was going to be back about this time. And we assumed that Semenyo will maybe be there next week.
Yep.
So now if you're putting Doku and Semenyo in that, what does that mean?
It's a difficult fixture away at Sunderland they've got next this game week as well.
I think the long-term goal would be Doku left, probably Semenyo right, and they can go into central areas, and it's dropped Foden and Cherky from a higher positions lower, actually to join with Rodri. And this is one of the reasons why I was put off Foden in the first instance.
So where does Reinders go out the team? Bernardo Silva obviously is filling in right now. He is one of the older players, so I can see him out the team.
But once Rodri's back, if you can get Rodri at his best, you know that he can play the single pivot role great. As a consequence, though, if you've got Doku and Semenyo as wide players, what's now your impact for O'Reilly and Nunes? Does Pep then look at moving someone from a fullback position, maybe say like a John Stones, to say right back, to move inside of Rodri and then build with a back three again? Is that then a consequence that's hurtful for O'Reilly? So at the moment, it's like there's no changes, but I think something will change. I said this a couple of weeks ago. It feels very set for City and Pep at the moment, but I bet this system isn't how they finish the season necessarily. It's too long to go.
Yep.
He's had several iterations where we got to this stage of the season gone, they play like this, and then you hit April and they're playing a different way. I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same again. So I just have a consciousness at the moment. But no, I wouldn't move Foden to Cherky. Don't buy Cherky by all means, but I wouldn't take Foden out to put him now.
Any Forest assets?
I think Hutchinson wants monitoring. I've said this a few times recently. I think he's playing well. I wouldn't run to get there. I mean, fixtures, there's still a couple of difficult ones coming up for Forest. They go to Villa this weekend. I would strongly fancy them against Everton tomorrow night, by the way, because of Everton's attacking issues.
And then they play us.
Forest to beat them. Then it's yourselves, but then it's Arsenal after that as well. So, and then Brentford. I think Brentford have got fourth best home record in the league. So there's good and bad in the fixtures. So if Hutchinson was like a rotatable option, maybe. But say like maybe you want to put him in with Wilson. Right, Wilson's got Liverpool in 20. Hutchinson's going to Villa. Which one do you want to play? Like, it's not ideal. So I think it's probably an overlook at the moment. The one that will get the attention is goalkeeper. So he's played again. It's 3 in a row now.
Yep.
With John Victor. We thought it might change again after Fulham. I would say at the moment, it's his shirt to lose. However, his shirt to lose might be lost. It's worth bearing in mind. But there was nothing in that weekend that would make me think, he'll come out the team. And although the save from Foden ends up quite straight at him, it felt like a big moment. Like it felt like his first real kind of big save. I think it's fair to say for Nottingham Forest. So he hadn't made any big saves in the 2 game previously. And you could hear the cheer around the ground, like admiring the save. So I think he probably does stay in the team for the Everton game. So like, I wouldn't mind if someone's on free hit this week and wanted to go Sells and John, for example. I think that's perfectly reasonable with that fixture this week. I wouldn't run to put John with Dubravka. I think that's quite dangerous. If you want to go John as your 4.0 instead with Verbruggen or Sanchez or something like that, I don't mind. But I don't think we can look at this and go, John's going to stay in goal all season. Whereas like with Dubravka, we can. But then if you lose John, you don't want to be playing Dubravka every week. There's a time and a place for it. Every week is not it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go John over Dubravka just because he could lose his place, whereas I don't see Dubravka losing his place. So if he's your second keeper, I'd want him to play. And there might be short-term upside in John, but not long-term. Sales possibly maybe will get back in that team. So we shall see.
I don't mind if people want the same on wildcard. If people want to pick the two of them, I don't mind. But then you're looking at it from a wildcard perspective and going, I've got Villa away this week. And then 2 weeks later, I've got Arsenal at home. Like, it doesn't feel great. So I feel like it's more like a monitor thing at the moment. 20 DEFCONs for Elliot Anderson. He was much better. I want to highlight that because I didn't think it was great at Fulham. It was much better on Saturday.
Yeah. Arsenal 2, Brighton 1. I thought that I would get some DEFCONs out of Declan Rice because he was on 7 or 8 at half time, James, and then ended up only on 10. Not a single DEFCON out of the Arsenal players at the weekend. Does that tell you anything you need to know about the game?
Yeah, they dominated it largely. Obviously, the end of the game got a little bit nervy for them. Rice obviously played right back.
Yeah, he had to, right? With obviously Timber not available, and then Calafiori drops out, so Lewis Skelly comes into the team.
Calafiori, Mikel Arteta said that Calafiori's issue happened in training on Friday, and he said it was something strange, is what he said. Okay, fine. Then he's obviously in the lineup to play on Saturday, and then presumably it still feels strange. I mean, if you think about what the injury is, we can all lead to a conclusion, can't we? No, we can't lead to that conclusion. We don't know what it is with Calafiori. Timber, I suspect, was precautionary. I think they've been looking at going, you might be up against Rodgers on Tuesday.
Yep.
I think Timber will play. I'm fairly certain Gabriel will play against Villa. The game's too big. I think it'll take a chance on him. He'll play with Saliba. And I think probably Hincapie probably plays left back this one. I think that's the most likely solution. Rice back into midfield. But I knew with Hincapie, it's like, it's a problem now. I'm going to be week to week going, I don't know if he plays, Yep. So I was always of the opinion, sort it as soon as it needs sorting. Mm-hmm. Please have got Rice in. Copied you.
I mean, yeah, he is that all-round kind of. If you picked up an assist this week, James. Next week it will be DEFCON and bonus. The week after that, he might score a goal. Then it might be all of them in one go. It just ticks along so nicely with all the different ways he's picking up points. So good.
Questions lately online about best midfielder and this, that, and the other in terms of fantasy. Like, don't overlook this. The game is different to what it was in previous seasons. If you don't have Declan Rice and you have a midfield issue, stick him in. I mean it. It's absolutely fine. Get Gordon a fix. Gordon's going to end up being Rice in 3 or 4 weeks anyway. Just put him in. The fixtures don't matter. He's unbelievable for DEFCONs away from home. You've seen again those corners that he takes.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
the
all
own
it
goal
needs is that
should have
touch.
been his. Could have gone in straight from the corner, right?
He's on some direct free kicks now as well. He takes most of the kind of outside the box free kicks as well. Yeah, you were right in pre-season. You said you really wanted him. I wasn't sure. Yeah, I can't see me moving him.
Yeah, but I wasn't right enough to do it.
He's not one to look at and go, this player's got amazing fixtures for the next 3-4. I'll dive off him. No, he's sitting there. That's like a glue player now that's just going to sit there for me. And I'd recommend people will feel better about their lives, I think, if they put him in their team, if they don't.
I agree. I'm glad you got him in now.
That's not to say people should run from Saka to Rice or listen, Saka's still a great asset. And I know people are kind of thinking, Saka to Palmer in a little bit, maybe even this week, by the way. But I still think double Arsenal defence will be the way to go in the longer term. That's where I want to be. So once I'm sitting there with Timber, Gabriel, Rice, just pretty much I think that's a lock for me. Yeah. And I just go, some weeks Saka's going to hurt me. But I think this is the value way to play it. That's what I'll be looking at.
Yeah, agreed.
For Brighton, change of system. So I went to a back three. Coppola played to the right of Van Heck. No Minter in the starting lineup. If I was a Minter owner, I wouldn't read that as bad news. I'd read that as good news for the upcoming games against West Ham and Burnley. And if you've come this far with him, I'd probably hold him. He's obviously very nearly scored in this one. I said last week, don't be surprised if he looks a bit lively against Arsenal and then upsets you in the games afterwards, but you wouldn't sell him at this point. He's obviously not scored because of this brilliant save from David Raya. Probably save of the season. I take it you've seen it, Suj.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the first few times I looked at it, I didn't know if he touched it because it is such a fingertip save. But if he hadn't touched it, it would have gone in. So
I agree it's one of the saves of the season. I just want people to think about one thing though. If it had gone in, do you think people would have said he should have
is he
saved it?
too? Is he too? Well, was he
Because
too far out of his goal?
he's
Or,
not top bin.
yeah. Is
But
this,
it's the
they
athleticism
would
of
have
the angle that he has to
they
save
would
it. It's extraordinary. I do
questioned
agree.
his positioning maybe if it had gone in. But if it had gone in, it
No,
would
his
have been a hell of a
positioning is
finish.
great. If you actually look at how he moves his feet, Joe Hart did a nice piece on this last night. How he moves his feet, and he has to set his angle back to his left. So like on free kicks, how many times you see it, the goalkeeper takes a step behind the wall and then it goes the other way and they can't get back. Obviously, Raya doesn't have a wall in his way, but he has to step left to close the angle just in case Minter wraps it near post like Odegaard did on his goal for Arsenal. And then he has to spring back to his right. I mean, it needs brilliant footwork and goalkeeping. I'm just saying that I think actually if it had gone in, people would have gone, that weren't top corner, that. If you watch Minter, though, he's always celebrating. There's an angle behind
Yeah.
where Minter shoots, which shows like extraordinary work from Raya. Minter is off. He nearly disappears out of shot because he's going off to celebrate. He can't believe he's saved it. But I don't want to pay that money for him. Those who run Raya at like 5.5, you're never going to come off it, are you? And I
Yeah,
completely
no.
understand that. But I do think there'll be better use of Arsenal assets.
Yeah, at 6, if you can get one of the defenders, this is where the defenders versus goalkeeper debate. You'd rather take the defender with the def cons and the attacking threat that they almost all of them provide.
I wouldn't be running to any Brighton assets. But Verbruggen is fine for goalkeeper. People want to go that Verbruggen Dubravka like combination. I think is fine. Nice defcon for Van Heck at the weekend, but it's sporadic. And do you know what they are? They're unreliable. I wouldn't be chasing. If people wanted like a 2-week punt, I wouldn't be chasing any of the attacking players at this stage.
Okie
I'd
dokie.
go for someone else.
Let's talk about Brentford 4, Bournemouth 1. Bournemouth lose again. You talked about Newcastle being 14th in the table. Bournemouth are 15th now, James.
Were
And
they about your best chance of staying up? And
at the current rate, they are. I mean, you look at the, on SofaScore, they've got the chart that shows that the flow of the game sometimes. Like it's so interesting to see how up till
got battered.
well. Up till 3-0, and then from 3-0 till the fourth goal, they scored one in between. It was pure Bournemouth domination on the graph. And then it goes back to the end of Brentford again. In the first half, James, Bournemouth racked up 0.07 XG, 2.65 in the second half of 4 big chances.
Yeah, Kelleher's ended with 8 saves.
Yeah, and you've got Brentford have racked up 3.66. I mean, this is nearly over 6.5 XG in the game with 9 big chances overall. 5-4 on big chances to Brentford, but 4-1 on the score sheet. Kevin Schade does the business with a hat trick.
I'm very happy that I didn't sell Thiago.
He's had a price drop, this week. I think people are jumping ship.
Still like 0.6 up on him.
Who's he playing next? Tottenham.
Exactly. So, yeah, don't really want to be dealing with that. So, yeah, obviously, definitely staying for me this week. The way I've set my squad up as well, Suj, there are weeks where I can potentially hide him. So, for example, when he goes to Chelsea in game week 22, if I kept him longer term, Wilson, who I've now said is maybe my 8th attacker, is away to Leeds.
Right.
So he might even end up staying for me long term, Thiago. But he's probably the one at the moment I am aware. Oh, okay, let's be aware of other forwards maybe to jump to. But I wouldn't go Thiago to Bowen now. I mean, you're asking the wrong guy. I would not sell a Brentford player, not an attacking one when they're about to play Tottenham. However, at the same time, I probably wouldn't go run into Kevin Schade. Great hat trick, really good. A lot of these goals are scored with direct running through central zones. If he ends up too
Rapid.
wide, and whatever I think of my team at the moment, they're probably not going to allow that sort of space, as you've seen against Crystal Palace yesterday, where he can get in behind. They're probably not. It doesn't mean he can't score in the game, but it won't be like what you saw at the weekend, I don't think. I'd be very surprised if that happens. Great pass for Thiago, particularly on the first goal. So I think this is one where you've got to analyse and look at the opposition a little bit. Now, Bournemouth are proper vulnerable at the moment. A mental statistic for you, Suj. They've conceded 27 goals away from home in 9 games. They're getting
Whoa, 3 a
battered
game.
on the road. And by the way, I saw them in game week 3 play at Tottenham and barely give up a shot. They've been found out in terms of what they are, and they're probably facing a bit of punishment at the moment for being too brave of what they are. Look at how they played at Manchester United, the way they came back. Look at how they've tried to come back into this game at the weekend. At United, they didn't give themselves too much to do. At the weekend, they did. Vulnerable. He's clearly not happy with it, Andoni Iraola. To be like whacking off Diakite at like half time without any cover in terms of centre back, they need another centre back badly. If Senesi was to get injured or, by the way, move because he's out of contract at the end of the season, they've got to plug that really quickly. Everything we said in pre-season about, oh my God, they've been stripped apart defensively. Right, well, it's coming home to show now. However, they've only conceded 6 goals at home. Mad,
2 of them against my club. How crazy.
So at home, it's only Arsenal have conceded less goals. Away from home, they're the worst of the lot.
Did Senesi pick up his DEFCON? He didn't in this game, did he? Only the 2-pointer.
Did he not? No?
No.
Well, that's got to be a DEFCON, hasn't it? Such considering they conceded 4.
Oh, true. Actually, yes, you're right. Why was I looking at it? It's just performance points. You're exactly right, James. Yes,
yeah, just got
indeed.
in there, 10 for DEFCON. Big one from Christopher Schade this weekend, 21. And of course, he covered for Sepp van den Berg, who is another one of those injured defenders. I'm sure people have been screaming out, what about Sepp van den Berg, James? Yeah, he's injured as well. We don't think that's a long-term problem with him. Keith Andrews said before the game on Saturday, so when he was like interviewed before the game, he said that he wasn't right for today. So the game against Tottenham is not till Thursday. If he's available, he'll come back in. It might not be that Christopher Schade goes to left back because Kudos gave him the runaround when we played him a few weeks ago on that side. And Rico Henry really pushed him back. So I think if they can play Rico Henry again, that's what they'll probably do against my team at the weekend. But I would expect Van den Berg to come back in the team if he is available.
Cool. Let's talk
Bournemouth. One more line. Semenyo scored again. If you own, you been or not?
No, I would just hold through now because who have they got this midweek?
Chelsea. Then Arsenal at home. Then leaving.
Yeah, but then you don't know where he's going to end up, right? If he ends up at City...
He's going to City. I think we know it now.
Are we going to end up with more people steaming into him? It depends how much value you've got tied up in, but he's dropped quite a lot in value that there probably isn't many people with too much left in there.
You've seen Chelsea's vulnerabilities at the weekend.
Yeah, I don't think I would move it on. I don't think I would move it on, James, to be honest with you.
I think I probably would as well. Here's a couple of interesting things on it. One, just in case you were unaware, Antoine Semenyo cannot have a double game week. I have seen someone ask this question online and say, oh, could he play away to Chelsea for Bournemouth and then play for Manchester City at Sunderland on Thursday? No, that is impossible. Even if the deal did go through on like 1 a.m. on New Year's Day, it's about who you're registered for when the game week starts. So there'll be a deadline for this game week where a player would have to be registered by, say, 12 p.m. on Tuesday. And that's your club for this week. Okay, so he cannot play. If he did move on New Year's Day, he cannot play for Manchester City at Sunderland, just for absolute clarity. Also, the other interesting aspect of this is for City. So let's say City did buy him on New Year's Day. Obviously, can't play at Sunderland. You'd presume then in the squad for Chelsea at home. So he could play Chelsea in consecutive weeks. Is one thing to say about it. But also, presumably, they don't, as long as they've done it right at Sunderland, probably don't throw him straight in the team.
Yep.
I would guess. And also, wouldn't the best thing, therefore, for Manchester City be for Antoine Semenyo to play against Arsenal in game week 20 rather than be a Manchester City player? Because Arsenal were their main rivals and Bournemouth's best chance of beating Arsenal was clearly through Semenyo.
It's true.
So could they wait and let him play the Arsenal game?
And then what? He picks up an injury in the Arsenal game and then they don't want to buy him because he's injured or whatever. It's risky. I think they'd rather just get the deal done, to be honest with you, James, because you know what will happen? Tottenham will come in and gazump the deal with £100 million.
I know what you're saying, but He's more used to Manchester City in game week 20 by staying at Bournemouth.
Yeah, probably. But also, current Bournemouth versus current Arsenal,
Well, yeah,
there's not much
I
there.
can't see Eddie Wade Arsenal wouldn't score a few goals again. But that is at the Vitality. And as said, we've only conceded 6 goals now.
They'll concede six in that game,
I
James.
think pitch size or anything. I don't know the answer to that. I just think they're probably too brave for their own good away
Yeah.
from home. And then they get done in terms of transition and teams hurting them.
Well, the
Whereas I
two we
think
scored
teams
that day was primarily because the weather was so bad. Like it was tipping down that
and the
day.
goalkeeper,
Yeah, true. So I
your
don't even know.
favourite.
You could even take that six down to four if you wanted to.
Yeah, if you're a Petrovic owner, by the way, and you're looking at Verbruggen playing West Ham and Burnley in the next two, if you can and you've got the luxury, I'd probably act on that because this geezer isn't going to do a lot. That's a problem. I think also teams go to Bournemouth, and because there's so intensity, they're going, even some of the top teams are going like deeper and lower earlier. Newcastle back in September being a great example of that. So they'll be a bit nervous, Bournemouth, because the best player is going to leave, it looks like. And obviously, this run's gone on for a long time now. When they last won, they were second.
Well, all right, let's keep it moving. We've got quite a lot of games to get through, James. So we'll keep this one short and sharp. Cheap points for Burnley, nil. Everton, nil for Dubravka. I mean, 6 saves in the game, though Everton didn't even manage to get to 1 XG in that. So it doesn't feel like his saves were particularly of high quality chances for Everton.
If they'd have been high quality, he probably wouldn't have saved them. I know what he is. Let's be realistic about it.
They still come up with the 11 pointer, but 0-0. We thought both of us predicted Burnley to win 1-0.
They
But they
probably nearly
didn't.
did.
But
That Fleming chance at the end was kind of gas moment of the weekend. I think he probably was just about offside. Yeah, almost. It's a shame for Burnley because like other teams around them lost this weekend, and yeah, it feels like they dropped points.
yep.
They've now got to play Newcastle and target victory. And it probably plays into Newcastle's hands a little bit, actually. I do think Newcastle will probably go there and win. I said this last week at Manchester United. Burnley, couple of notes on them. No Esteve yet. Joe Worrell pulled up in training prior to the draw against Everton. So they played Humphreys for the first time this season, who's a young player they'd signed from Chelsea. He's 3.9. I'd monitor that. That's not like a go and buy, but he did hit DEFCON just about. I'd monitor that. More of a concern for them, however, is injuries to Josh Cullen, who's been one of their better performers this season. He picked up a knee injury early in the second half, and that's a big problem for them if he's out because it changes the way they play. Because he's the one who, you give him the ball in the centre of the pitch, and he's very comfortable. He can play on it. That would be a concern. You may find them become even lower for possession numbers in forthcoming weeks if he's out for a while. Breuer and Fleming seem to alternate who's playing and stuff. I wasn't surprised that Breuer started following the goal against Bournemouth, but then it's Fleming that's nearly won the game at the end. Everton are missing too many cooks, mate.
Yep.
It speaks volumes that we both thought that they would go there and lose 1-0. I think a lot to do with Everton's absentees at the moment. I've already said I think we'll lose at Forest to probably nil tomorrow night. Do you feel different?
I'm a bit biased here because I need Forest to lose. But I think you're probably right. I think you're
Sorry, mate.
probably right.
You ain't finishing above Forest anyway, I'm telling you that. If Everton get a 0-0 tomorrow night again, that's probably a decent result. Probably not what Evertonians want to hear at this moment. But that offensively at the moment, and obviously Grealish missed out through illness. He's not helpful either. So Grealish on top of Ndai, on top of Dewsbury Hall. The two forwards, he's not sure on at the moment between Beto, Barry. Beto started this one. It could easily be that it's Barry Tuesday, and then the following week it changes back again. Between Dibbling, who played all right by all accounts, and he's kind of Grealish-esque actually, but from the other side. Alcaraz, McNeil, with Garner, Roban and behind. You'd almost look at Everton. If I said to you Everton were going to score at Forest tomorrow night, you'd almost say Michael Keane might be the most likely.
Yeah, or Tarkovsky from a header or something like that.
Top bonus for Michael Keane, 21 on the DEFCONs as well. And he's a more awkward one to like leave out at Forest, even though I think, like I'm saying, I think they probably get beat. you know that it'll probably hit DEFCON. And if it went the other way and Everton won 1-0, he might be the scorer. He's a really rough one to leave out, I
Yeah,
think, over these next few weeks
it's
when they've got these 3 good fixtures to go. After that, I'd have a strong awareness about him, though, when Jared Brantwaite's back.
he's crept
Don't
up
look
to
at it.
4.8. So it's quite. It's not like 4.5
Well,
anymore as
he's in
well.
the top 3 for high scoring defenders now, I think, Michael Keane.
Yeah, crazy.
So those who are on are going to be absolutely delighted. And I think, despite concerns about them, it almost gives a greater will in most scenarios to want to keep playing him. So I think, yeah, if you're unsure this week, don't leave him out. Despite the fact I think they're probably going to struggle.
Yeah, agreed. Right,
I,
let's talk
I,
about
I wouldn't be chasing it either at this stage.
Wolves. Sorry, Liverpool 2, Wolves 1. From what I captured of this game and understood of it, James, you can correct me if otherwise. Same old with Liverpool. Take the lead, control the game, concede a goal to get back to 2-1, and then the end of the game was shit the bedtime again.
Yeah, hit a bit of adversity and shit yourself. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Well, it's not actually because we've just seen it so often now.
but where? Why? It's not like they haven't got experienced players, leadership, and stuff within that team.
The best word I could use is fragile. It's just fragile at the moment. Like
It is
there's
3 points, so no complaints there, but still, yeah.
they're under pressure. Ultimately, as well, in terms of actual results, like is it 6 or so unbeaten now in the league, and I think you've got like a Champions League game at Inter Milan to throw in there as well. They're up to 4th. If I'd have offered a Liverpool fan a few weeks ago when they got lost 3-0 home to Nottingham Forest that you'd end the year and be back in the top 4, subject to results Tuesday night, they'd have been delighted with that. Absolutely delighted. So quietly, they're fixing it on results. However, playing West Ham, Brighton, Tottenham, Wolves, Sunderland, Leeds, you'd have bloody hoped that they would, wouldn't you? Really, being realistic about it.
Yeah,
So there's tougher tests to come, and Leeds might well be one of them, right? They're obviously on good form.
absolutely.
Leeds,
Yeah,
Leeds go to Anfield now. We're kind of nothing to lose on New Year's Day. Yeah, I mean, Alisson's made more saves in the game than Jose Sa.
yeah, it's crazy.
For Liverpool, what I would say is I think takeaways would be it's a harder fixture on paper for Haaland this week than it was last week, arguably, although that might have changed. We'll discuss that about Sunderland in a sec. But it's not an easier fixture for Ekiteke than the one that's just gone. But there is a consequence that Leeds might have to change system.
Yeah, I was going to say Rodon might be out for
I
Leeds, right? So, well, will be out for Leeds. So,
Yeah, we'll talk about them in a sec. I would not be taking Haaland on this week, personally. I would not nowhere near enough confidence in Cunha, and Ekiteke is not better this coming week than it was last week.
yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for me. I don't have that much faith in Haaland, to be honest with you. But then he went to Palace and he did all right. So he can go to Sunderland and do okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be adding Liverpool new at this stage. It's more about, I think, after this week, what do we do to move them on?
Yeah,
We'll see what Dan Lord says. He's on COTC tomorrow, but my instinct is Ekiteke holds the longer term at the moment until something happens in the market to make me think there's a concern to his minutes because he looks a very good player. Van Dijk, I want to move on ideally, but also I might be in a position where I can hide it for the Arsenal game and then it's Burnley at home. But you do think, cut this off, James, honestly.
he's pissing me off, to be honest with you. So I think I'm going to get it done.
Well, I don't think it's him. I think it's them.
Well, he is a part of them. He is their captain. He is their leader. He's
Have
the
you
one
watched
that
a
needs to
game
step
this
up and
season
fix
where it's
it.
like the opponent hasn't had like a big chance that you
No,
can think of? Maybe
no.
Arsenal, maybe even in game week 3 or so. Yeah, I think it's probably move on. I think those who went to Verts, well done. They've finally scored at the weekend. I wouldn't be viewing him as a long-term hold at this moment, personally.
Gakpo came back on for Ekitike towards the end of the game, so he's fit. He might get some minutes again now. I don't know if they'll throw him straight into the
Yeah,
team,
I
but
think though what I would say on Ekiteke is what they've got to do is manage him because they can't afford for him to get injured. So I think with him, you will get a lot of these sort of 80, 85 minutes or so rather than the full 90. But for Liverpool, that's enough. I mean, that's not being viewed like, oh, Beto, Barry, one's going to come on for the other with half hour to go. I think Ekiteke will be like that. He'll play the majority of the games moving forward and the majority of minutes in them. Wolves, I just want to say, well done. Because they've had a couple of away games now against like the champions and would-be champions, and they've acquitted themselves pretty well, actually. I said a couple of weeks ago, it might be that playing Wolves at Molineux is better than playing them at home. I wouldn't have been surprised if they got signed at Manchester United if Andre had been available, but I don't know what they do now. I don't even know who they put in there because they've got too many other absentees. Mosquera will be back from suspension. But in terms of availability of players that can play in midfield, obviously Manetzi, Bellegarde's still out. I don't know what they actually do in there. Did they play a kid in there with João Gomez? They move one that they could move Krejci maybe into midfield and then put Mosquera in with a back three. Then it's got a real imbalance in terms of who plays on the left side of it. Not convinced. I do want to say after Tottenham lost at Nottingham Forest, I said that Tottenham were the worst team for FPL in this game, and I got a bit of criticism for that, which is fair enough because plenty of people were going, "What about Wolves?" I'm telling you, I'd really be watching Matheus Mane. I've said this a few times about him. He's absolutely inevitable because of where their season is at that they start thinking about next season. And he's a young boy. All the Liverpool fans who were at the game have fed back and said he was really impressive in the game. He's 4.5. You're never going to be tempted to play him because he plays for Wolves, but he might do you the trick. And something else to think about with him is they are, at the moment, the most likely team to have a double game week basically in March. Because the game that they'll have rescheduled and brought forward is with Arsenal. Now, I get it. I know what you're saying. Well, it's double game. Trust me, when it comes around, you're all going to have 3 Arsenal in place and you're going to, I can play this 4.5 midfielder who's playing kind of near OOP for a couple of games. Just monitor it. It might not be the worst 8 for Taki you have.
I'll worry about it closer to the time, James, because it's definitely not biggest concern for me right now.
He won't be the worst 8 for Taka. You're never going to be tempted to play it. I think he's going to keep playing. That's all, folks.
All right.
Probably go Justin Devaney just because it's 0.2 cheaper. But yeah,
I had this.
Keep Mane on radar.
I had this debate with my 8-year-old nephew, who I sent your wildcard team to on Friday. Was it Friday you sent it to me, wasn't it? Because he said he was on wildcard. I said, have a look at this team and kind of do your best to get as close to it, because I do trust your judgment, James. He's 8 years old. He replied back, "Now I like my team better," and he had some dross in there, honestly. But in the end, we had I'll double check. We had a debate. He wanted to buy Justin Devaney, and I was like, just buy Potts or Miley or something, because at least they're playing and you might get some use out of them. Devaney's going to drop out the team as soon as they get players back fit. I don't see him staying in there.
1 point every week or so.
But he did say to me, but I'm never going to play it. So why don't I just buy the cheapest option at 4.2? And I thought, okay, well, fair play. If that's the way you want to operate, I never feel comfortable having players in the squad that I'm going to get nothing out of. Right, let's talk about West Ham 0, Fulham 1. I mean, I don't know.
I don't even want to be horrible at this stage. I'm just.
What do you want to talk about? To be fair,
I'm very scared for you.
Nah, it should have been a draw. We did enough to get ourselves a draw out of it. But if you don't take your chances and you make mistakes at the other end, and they're bad enough that it's leaving Harry Wilson to stick it on Jimenez's head, then you're going to lose a game of football, because a team like Fulham, you can't make mistakes that are that bad against. This has been the story of like the last few weeks, where we've picked up the odd draw. We haven't won in quite a long time, but we have picked up quite a few draws here, but it's never, ever quite enough. This is the first point in the season where I have seen unanimously amongst the fan base the resignation that it's done, that we're down. I think Leeds
it's too long to go for that.
It is, but emotionally, this is the one where Leeds have now got up to 20 points, which is 7 clear. And Forest are still 5 ahead. So the hope is that by the time we play Forest, if we beat them, we can jump above them, at least psychologically get out of the relegation zone. But Burnley are only 1 point behind. There's no sign of goals coming from anywhere. It's not good at all. Like, I've seen us play worse, but it's not looking good.
A few weeks ago, you had a brilliant run of 4 fixtures, like what you've had now. The first 2 of those 4 fixtures went disastrously. Okay. Home to Brentford and away to Leeds. It was horrendous. Oh my God, what is this? Then you won the next 2. against Burnley and against
and
Newcastle.
Newcastle. Yeah,
And actually, you probably deserved to beat Newcastle. And after that, there was like a bit of positivity. These next games, the first one, and again, this latest run of four fixtures, it's started
Brighton at
badly.
home.
But that first fixture was more encouraging than, say, the fixture against Brentford, right, which was really bad. There is real pressure on these next few games. You mentioned the gap to Leeds, right? I think there's every chance Leeds will beat Manchester United at the weekend, but they probably don't get anything at Liverpool and they probably don't get anything at Newcastle, right? You got to stop pissing about with what you're doing, because if you do well in the next three games, you'll start getting at these teams. Look at Bournemouth, have got Chelsea and Arsenal in the next two. If you won your next two, suddenly you're going, oh my God. Now, I don't think any of us sit here. This is the problem for West Ham at the moment. I don't think any of us would sit here and think Forest will go down. I don't think many of us think Leeds will go down now. I don't think many of us think Bournemouth will go down, despite the run that they've been on. Above that is Newcastle, Brighton, Everton. Right, none of them are going down. But
Someone's got to.
Well, yeah. Back in 0203, you ended up on 42 points and went down. You would have actually gone down on 44 points, miraculously. You and Bolton in like the last 8 weeks of the season basically played like top six teams and kept getting results. I'm not saying you've got to do that sort of thing, but you've got to focus on you rather than what's above. Because if you start looking up at the moment, it's demoralising.
It's
because
really
you
bad.
know you win the next game, you're still there. You just got to focus on you. And the pissing about now has got to stop. However, if Brighton turn up, whether they play back three, back four, if they turn up and play how Brighton can, they'll beat you.
Yeah, but then
problem.
also if we play better, we can get something out of that game as
Absolutely.
well. Bowen had the chance that 8 times out of 10, I wouldn't say he did put away. Callum Wilson, when he came on, had an impact. I don't know why he isn't starting. He had a shot that
He's got to start.
he'd done better, and it's not like we didn't create anything. It's not like the players aren't there that can get something out of a game, but we're just not delivering. It's always that little bit of a jump too far. Like if anybody, from a fantasy point of view, if anyone wants to own Bowen over these next 3, it's fine. Like I wouldn't be selling him right now. I also wouldn't be jumping there. I'd be going elsewhere. Apart from that, from a West Ham point of view, there's literally nobody. For Fulham, go on.
No, I was just going to cut the questions out. I mean, first, I just want to acknowledge as well, poor Ollie Scholes. Bless him. He was so gutted, weren't he?
Yeah. And
it's an error, but I mean, you could. Do you know what? He
played
does
well,
at least.
though.
He cares.
Yeah. He'll be all right. He'll play again on Tuesday night. It's not like we've got much cover there. And off we go.
Why is Kilman back in the team for Mavropanos?
Couldn't tell you.
And why did
you?
Why did he set it up this time with Kilman at left-sided centre back?
I couldn't tell you.
He does some weird things with centre backs, Nuno. It scares me.
Well, he didn't at Forest, did he? There's Murillo and Milenkovic all day long, copy paste every week.
But they're a level above what you've got.
Yeah, I don't know what he's thinking here.
But it's true.
Played all right,
he never got tempted to go, I'll play Murillo right-sided centre back.
No. I think it's just he knows they're shit. He knows they're bad.
For Fulham, wouldn't be chasing after Harry Wilson. I actually think he's, for those who own, I don't think it'd be the worst. If you're looking to get him up to another player, I think it's fine to sell.
Sacrifice.
I don't think he's not in the... He's probably the best one in and around that value at the moment, but for those who are already on and have got the value in it, Crystal Palace away, Liverpool at home, Chelsea at home, the fixtures don't scream moving forward till basically we get back into sort of March time. So at this stage, I wouldn't be chasing after that. What's he up to? 5.8 now?
5.6.
I think it's 5.8, I think, Suj. That's not a buy now.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, 5.8.
And he was borderline whether I sold him or not. Like I said, I'm thinking more of as an 8th attacker now, like really nice cover. I'll use if and when I want to. Him and his owners will that's probably an easy one to move on. I think. Would you go Jimenez to Bowen? Or are you saying you'd go for someone different at this point?
I'd go Calvert-Lewin probably at the moment, the run that he's on at his price. I hate it, but I would.
No,
I would. What, from Bowen, you mean?
No, from Jimenez. I think those who went Jimenez were looking at this run and going, right, after West Ham, I'm going to move that on.
Depends whether you're going down or up or down in value, because he's at 6.3, Jimenez, give or take. Do you want to save money and use it elsewhere, or have you got budget to bump it up to an Ekitike or something?
That's why I never went there, because I knew it was going to start leading to, a Tiano Barry conversation. And that can't be the answer because you don't know if it's him or Beto who's going to play. Welbeck probably doesn't play the West Ham and Burnley games, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think there's any guarantee in that at
Bowen may
all.
be the closest price to him that's a sensible option.
Sesko?
I'd rather go Bowen than Sesko. But yeah, it's not great.
I think, point being here, I think in most scenarios, if you've got Jimenez, he's probably just a stick at this minute.
Mm.
Probably is just a stick because I don't think the options to go to are good. So if you're sitting there with one free transfer, like if you can get up to Ekateka,
João Pedro
doing it. Nah, man.
Scored at the weekend.
Yeah,
I'm
it
about
could
to talk
easily
about
be
it.
that he starts the lap tomorrow night. I think easily could be. I think Chelsea rotate quite a bit tomorrow night.
Yeah, tricky one. Should we talk about Chelsea?
Yeah, we can.
Chelsea 1, Aston Villa 2. I think the tweet of the weekend, James, was from XG Philosophy around Aston Villa. Did you see that one?
Yeah, Villa fans are banting that count out massively, which is completely understandable at the moment.
Yeah, but it's fact is fact, right? Yeah, it's not tweeting an opinion, it's just tweeting a fact. If Villa on XG should only be 3 points ahead of Wolves, and in reality they are 34. That's mad.
Okay.
That's mad, right? The XG Philosophy are not saying that Villa don't deserve to be where they are, because
No,
football's not played in XG. It's fact.
Just a stat.
If you go on XG, they should be 3 points ahead of Wolves. They are 34. That's incredible.
I want to say, go on the Villa, particularly tomorrow night. You keep doing it, guys. They were, I don't want to say dreadful, but they looked so average in that first half on Saturday. Chelsea.
Would you say as far as first 60 minutes until Watkins came on?
If you'd have dropped an alien on the football match and went, one of these sides has got a chance to win the league this year, you definitely wouldn't have said it was Aston Villa. They looked so reliant and almost one-dimensional in terms of, right, we're going to sit in here, we're going to try and suck Chelsea into transition problems, which actually they did on a couple of occasions, but it felt so reliant on Rodgers, like having these moments of magic in central areas. And he nearly did. And obviously he ends up assisting. It's in our world, it's an assist for Watkins' goal, even though he doesn't get it. But yeah, they until the 3 substitutions,
if
Chelsea was so
the SofaScore graph that it shows the attacking momentum, basically, up until the substitution, Villa had one little blue bit, and it's the smallest of all. It's pure Chelsea all the way. After that, it's just Villa with a little bit of Chelsea. So it just shows so clearly where the change in the game happened at 60 minutes.
Yeah. 14 points in 9 home games for Chelsea.
Yeah, not great. Not title winning anyway.
No, it's not particularly great. No, it's definitely not that. I'm sure this will finish top 5. As you probably just heard me say, like I've got concerns about them rotation for this. They go to Manchester City the weekend. Admittedly, the game's not till Sunday. And then they go to Fulham 3 days afterwards. Now, there's little things that would concern me for this game against Bournemouth. One, Bournemouth, in terms of how they play, Chelsea will have opportunities just naturally. Cucurella might have picked up a hamstring problem. We're not sure. That seems to be why he came off. Because that seems, I was surprised when he came off, but he might just be tightness. He might be okay. Casado is 1 yellow from a ban. Do you hold that back? Just because of his style?
Probably, yeah. You'd rather, but then you're basically giving yourself a self-imposed suspension, aren't you, really?
Do you
either gets yellow and misses the next one, or you make him miss this one and he doesn't. So he misses one game either way. I don't know if I would.
Do you? But then under that circumstance, then you probably can't rest Reece James. And would you rather do that?
Well, he's been playing quite a lot.
You can play
recently.
Andre Santos with Enzo Fernandez as an example.
There will be rotation, I think, is the moral of the story there.
I think like João Pedro, no. I think easy could be Delap, but I wouldn't be surprised, by the way, if João Pedro plays as 10 in this particular fixture to allow Delap ahead of him. I would, if you said to me now, Cole Palmer will start the game, he'd have to be one of the best captaincy options this week. I'm not convinced he starts at all. Even if he does, I think it might well be managed. He clearly was not happy when he got substituted. at the weekend. That was fairly obvious. They are trying to be cautious with him. Part of that withdrawal might well be, okay, we want to make sure you're okay for the next one as well. But Chelsea needed him at that point, and actually he was fading in the game. It was part of the
Yep.
reason Villa, it wasn't just the substitutions. He and others in that Chelsea team were fading. I would not look at Bournemouth at home and think he's an absolute certainty to start. Equally, with the Fulham game being 3 days after Man City, I don't think at this moment you could look at the Fulham away game as in being an absolute certainty to start. Enzo Maresca said previously, prior to this, he can now play 90 minutes. Correct. But also previously said he's going to struggle to play twice in 3 days for a while. Bournemouth is 3 days after Villa. I don't think it's a certainty.
Yep.
Now, if he plays, you right fancy him with them Bournemouth numbers defensively in away games, right? You think it's ideal for Palmer. But he might not start. I wouldn't be running to that at the moment till we get out this Christmas period. Then let's have another little look again, maybe at Cole Palmer. But at the moment, I'd probably be more of mine to think about overlooking him. Because there's obviously this run of Chelsea fixtures coming up. I'd rather go with stuff that's a bit more stable, like Enzo Fernandez, Sanchez in goal, or Chalobah, or stuff like that. Because you've got to remember, it's not just the fixtures in the league, right? Chelsea got the Carabao Cup semis now, well, against Arsenal. That's another two, like, really damning games in terms of on the body. And they've got Champions League games that they've got to win as well. It doesn't sit brilliant for them.
No. What about
So
Villa?
I'd be very aware of Palmer. Villa, you're obviously you're not buying this week. They're going away to
To
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
The story is rather more about, oh my God, how is this happening? So full credit to Unai Emery for the substitutions. I did feel on reflection afterwards that the game plan might have been to be very direct and fast at Chelsea, not to be as, I don't want to say lackluster, maybe more as passive as they were in the first half. But maybe the strategy of game plan was right. It's really go for it in the second half is possible. I think we've seen a lot of games recently where first halves have been like that. Manchester United against Bournemouth, Newcastle against Chelsea. Feel like teams have really gone, right, we're going to try and win this game at the start and then be a bit more passive later on. The United Bournemouth game obviously became carnage because of Bournemouth's comeback. But this one with Villa felt like, right, the strategy here is to really hurt Chelsea in the last half hour. And that they did. It was Ollie Watkins' best performance of the season, even though he only played half hour. He came on and he just looked like peak Ollie Watkins. He was right at it. Jadon Sancho was terrific when he came on. I don't know if there was I played here last year. Let me remind these like how good I am, because he was great when he came on. And Onana made a big difference in midfield as well. Those substitutions really, really helped Villa. And they're in the mix, aren't they? I mean, none of us think that they're going to win it, right? But imagine if they do win at Arsenal tomorrow night.
I mean, they beat Arsenal just a few weeks ago, so it's not impossible. I think if they beat Arsenal, yeah, it will just be a good day. I don't think it puts them any more or less likely to win the league.
Of course, if they win tomorrow night, 11 points with Arsenal, of course it does. Whereas if Arsenal
more likely to win the league because
let's be honest,
20 games to go.
If Arsenal
20 games
Villa,
to go, James.
If Arsenal beat Villa, which they probably do, right? Ends
5
the
point
chat,
gap,
doesn't it? It ends the chat.
Yeah, but there've been a 5 point gap before. It's just
but it's not City or Arsenal chasing Villa, is it? It's Villa chasing one of them. Let's be realistic about it.
Who don't have any Champions League football or Carabao Cup to worry about.
But they'll go very deep in Europa League. I mean, they should win the Europa League, Aston Villa.
Talk to me in a few weeks, James. They're about to play Arsenal, then Forest, then Palace away. Yeah,
as said as well.
I don't think they're going to win it. No one really does, but just take it week by week. Keep going. But if they can win against Arsenal, then they're still in the hunt. 5 points isn't unsurmountable, but yeah.
The 2 suspensions at Arsenal aren't going to help either for Cash Kamara. The Villa asset on mind is obviously Rodgers. As said, I nearly bought him Saturday night. I considered it because I had the exact money to go Dewsbury Hall to Rodgers. Go, right, I'm not taking this Cunha route. I'm not leaving myself open to Gabriel. This was part of the problem. I was going to close other doors and just go, right, well, I'll leave him on the bench against Arsenal and then he's ready for Forest at home afterwards in 20. Villa's run from 20 to 28 is really good. However, I don't think the 20 to 23 run is necessarily exceptional. Forest at home, Palace away, Everton at home, Newcastle away.
Yeah.
That feels a lot of kind of low mid blocks, closed sanctuary of space. where we know once he drifts from left into those central areas where he's most dangerous. Yet the period of 24 to 28, I'm going to feel like I want him a lot. So he's on radar, but it's nothing else from Villa that I'd be interested in at this moment.
Alrighty, let's go to the Sunday games, James. You've got Sunderland 1, Leeds United 1. I needed Granit Xhaka to pull me out from the depths of a disastrous game week here, and he did with a beautiful assist for Adingra, but couldn't back that up with any bonus points or clean sheet point as well. You don't seem to be sharing much love for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I know he's got some tough fixtures now, Liverpool, United, Newcastle in the next 3, but he keeps chipping away, 6 and 6.
He's doing great.
And Leeds do as well.
But no, I'm not going near it. The fixtures never open up enough. If I look across, even all the way up to game week 28, we've got to play Liverpool away, Newcastle away, Chelsea away, Villa away. We've also got to play Arsenal and Manchester City at home over that period.
Yeah, it's not good. Does that rule out all Leeds players for you from a fantasy point of view?
The other flip of this is he's had this brilliant run of scoring fixtures. Who's he just scored against? A lot of those teams that I just said, right?
Yeah.
He's on a great run in some difficult games.
So
clearly now talisman. He looks fit at the moment. The form is there, but is the opportunity for me as a non-owner there to go and run to? No, not for me, no. Oh, he's in great form. I'm going to sell Thiago for Calvert-Lewin this week. For me, that's nonsensical.
Is that your attitude towards all Leeds players? Because they've been on such a good run and playing well at the moment, finding a way that works for them in games.
Well, I think if you're adding new players into this because of the fixtures, I mean, the home ones are going to be pretty important for Leeds. I think Manchester United, Fulham, and Nottingham Forest in the next 3 home games between now and 25. There's Arsenal at home 24, and then they've got City at home 28. Their home form's brilliant, by the way. I don't know if it's changed over the weekend, but I know Understat had them 3rd for expected points in home games going into the weekend. So, I mean, that's brilliant for a newly promoted side, and actually says they've been underperforming so far, right?
Yep.
And I think people were looking out on the data, kind of the flip of Villa going, actually, Leeds' data's been all right, but we didn't expect this upturn like this in some of these more difficult fixtures. So you could definitely use a form narrative with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It won't be for me. If you're someone who just buys players on form, then by all means go and get him. It won't be for me. I'm more of a fixture head. The Joe Rodon injury is concerning. The Joe Rodon's injury is particularly concerning, obviously, because he's so important to them. I think he's played like 100 odd games in a row, I think, statistically, Suj, going back a couple of years. So he never gets injured. He rolled it the same ankle twice and still tried to carry on. His absence probably enforces a back 4. Now, they changed again. Another game of success would have changed during the game and actually benefited from it. But I'm pretty sure they'd have wanted to play a back 5 at Liverpool this coming week. It will be forced into a 4, and the leader of that back 4, I think, is missing in Joe Rodon. So that's a little bit concerning. We haven't got the prognosis yet, but I would assume that he's probably going to miss a little period of time. And unfortunately, because of his will to want to carry on, it's probably cost them the goal.
Yeah.
Two things happen. One, he doesn't step out as quick with his teammates, which is understandable, right? Because if you're carrying an injury, you don't want someone in behind you. It's a fear. It's psychological. And then obviously he's in that position as the ball comes to Adingra, and I know Joe Rodon, he'll put his body in the way of absolutely anything, and he doesn't dive at the tackle because he can't. There's no blame aimed at the player. It's just a consequence. 2 things happen that lead to the goal. Leeds thoroughly deserved their point, though. That's the feedback I've had from a lot of people. For Sunderland, too many absences at the moment. He's problematic. They've still got this run of obviously haven't lost at home yet. It's Manchester City next. So that's a narrative. Haaland captaincy. Sunderland haven't lost yet. For me, there's too many absentees there. And the biggest one is probably the most recent one, Dan Ballard. Because Ballard gives them such a physicality element at both ends. The Leeds goal, which is one of the goals of the season, by the way, that's scored by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Just think about Haaland against Sunderland, against Mukiele, and watch Mukiele against Calvert-Lewin on that goal. Yeah, if City can get him away, he'll do the business this week, I'm afraid so.
Okie dokie. I'm not really looking at Calvert-Lewin either, though it just feels like a nice cheap. When someone's cheap and it lets you put money in the bank to do other moves, it does tempt. I know you had a question on whatever the deadline stream or your Ask James stream about cheap midfielders at that 5 million value. I think someone was asking you whether you'd go to an Elliot Anderson or a Granit Xhaka or a Dewsbury Hall at the time. Obviously, Dewsbury Hall's out at the moment. You said go Xhaka because he's just so reliable and consistent, and he's popped up with a great assist here. That was a lovely pass.
Yeah, he will have little bits, but
And
he's another awkward one. If you need it, he's got one more game to do the gauntlet in terms of yellow cards, but he's been on it for a while. I guarantee you, by the way, that if he doesn't get booked this weekend, he will get booked in game week 20 when it comes to my place. That's like because he's going to get booed all game. It's like a near certainty. I don't mind Lefay as an alternative. And I do think defensively, like I've just gone and invested Alderete. Part of me investing in Alderete is like I said, longer term, like Chow's fixtures are okay. They balance up quite nicely longer term. So if I end up sticking with Chow for a longer period, like when Newcastle go to Liverpool in 24, Sunderland have got Burnley at home.
yeah,
It's little things like that just work out ideally for me in my circumstance longer term. I think he's a great one to get. Alderete, as long as you don't need to use it immediately, because I think their medium term fixtures right up until March, some would call that long term. I think that's really good. So he's the one I'd go to. And with the Ballard injury, I mean, the Ballard injury isn't good, but he's so reliable for minutes moving forward, and he was anyway. I think.
yeah. Cool. Alrighty, let's wrap by talking about Crystal Palace 0, Tottenham 1. Crystal Palace, no wins in three losses in a row, James, and no clean sheets for a little while. I had toyed around a while ago thinking, what if I just went double Palace defence, double Arsenal defence, or even triple Palace defence, double Arsenal defence, and just blanketed it for the rest of the season? What would happen? They've kind of sort of put me off the last few weeks with the way that they've been leaking goals. Yeah, it is a little bit frustrating. Same token you've said about Spurs, though. No real FPL interest there at the moment.
Are you okay? Like no. You wouldn't go and buy into either of these two teams at the moment. We don't know if Chris Richards will be back for Palace. They've got a set piece problem clearly at the moment. Oliver Glasner spoke after the defeat at
Defending
Leeds about
them,
the
to be
four
clear.
conceded. And then that can't really happen at our goal yesterday, where there's 3 consecutive headers from Tottenham players inside the 6-yard box, basically. Like it can't happen. I don't really know how it happens because the likes of Lacroix and Gay and
All
Lerma's
there.
another one. Like they're so physical back there. I'm not quite sure why there's an issue there. I think Richarlison, particularly Moani, does well to get the original header on it. I think Richarlison does incredible to actually get the flick on. I thought he played okay again yesterday. Yeah, the problem with them is it's like their first 11 when it's all available and it's not fatigue issues playing twice a week, match for anybody. We've seen it. They deserved to win that FA Cup last year. It's a good time for my team to play them. And it'll be a good time for anyone playing Palace in forthcoming weeks. I think there's a little mental issue now in terms of fatigue is hitting in. He's got trust issues with a few players. And Ketcher, he's not happy with. He's left him out for this and then he's brought him in. Klein, he kind of took off. But I think he'd probably rather keep playing Klein at the moment rather than have to introduce Klein later in the game. That's my kind of vibe on it. It's only taken a couple of parts, basically Sarr and Munoz, to come out that team.
And Richards.
Richards, not so much. It's kind of the third wheel of those 3 centre backs anyway. They didn't lose the game because Jefferson Lerma played yesterday, and Richards played at Leeds when they conceded 4, etc. Right, when he's available, he'll come back in. But it's that right-sided is. As soon as you lose an aspect like that for a team like Palace that doesn't have the depth, it's very impactful. And I'm aware of leaving Harry Wilson out this way. It's probably what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to bench him away to Palace and not in great form. I'm not saying we should attack them at this moment. I don't think you go and invest, no. If you're on like Mateta still, you're very much thinking about it, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think. Oster off, I think.
Mm.
And I didn't think that would be the case. His minutes were good at the weekend. He wasn't a huge threat Wasn't particularly concerned about him. Gay and Lacroix long term, it's fine. I wouldn't invest in Klein New if you're looking for like a. I'd rather pay the extra for Alderete, or I'd even rather probably at this moment pay for like Goodmanson at a similar price for Klein if you're looking really long term. That'll be more assured in terms of minutes. They played all the football in the first half, Palace. All the football that was played, let's say, between the two teams. But their best moments also came from set pieces. They weren't a threat in open play. And they do have a problem, like many teams actually in this league, have a problem when the opponent says, okay, break us down. It is a problem for them. And so ultimately, though I hated the way Tottenham played yesterday, strategic in terms of stopping Crystal Palace and how good they are in terms of on the counter is probably the right way to do it. And because Palace are now a good side, they're going to get more respect from teams in terms of this. But I don't think Fulham don't go to Palace and play that way. I don't think
No.
be as negative as we were. So yeah, just in a bad moment, Palace, we caught them at a good time. My team's dreadful, man. Honestly, the result is great, and it's what I always say about going to Palace: get there, win, leave. Like I'm very happy with that aspect of it. It's one of those places in the Premier League. I'm not that bothered how my team plays. Go in there, get the result, and leave. But it's dreadful to watch, man. That it's so much long ball shit. I can't remember a proper passing passage of play that we played in the whole game. Where I could say, right, it went from centre backs into full backs into midfield into the attackers. Not once in the whole game. Dreadful to watch. So bad. So this is fine. You can win games, all right? Well done. You can't play like that and not win. Because if we'd have lost 1-0 yesterday, trust me, them headlines, and it easily could have been that way, the headlines today about him, he's under so much pressure under that. It's not good enough. No one could look at Tottenham yesterday and go, oh, he deserved it or he played well. Ironically, we had some chances towards the end of the game, really late on, once Palace opened up a little bit more, made a few weird changes like SA at wing back and stuff like that, where we exploited them on the counter at the end. And also once we'd gone to a back three. And on that, I wouldn't be surprised if Tottenham do play a back three at Brentford this week. That might sound a bit weird, but where there has to be sympathy is basically Tottenham have, I think, 5 players that Thomas Frank is happy to play in the number 10 position. He now doesn't have any of them. Maddison, Kulusevski, Simmons, Sarr, Bergvall.
Yeah. I was going to say...
I'm presuming Bergvall obviously hobbled off yesterday. I presume will be unavailable. So he's got 2 options. Actually, no, he's got 3. He just plays 4-4-2 and doesn't play with a 10. He could play Archie Gray as a 10. Or what I'd probably called for in before this game was, well, actually, yeah, just play Johnson as much as he does my nutting and play Kudos at 10. But if he doesn't want to do that, he hasn't got a number 10 to play. It might be Romero obviously be back from suspension. Bring Romero in for Bergvall, play a back 3. I think that is a possibility. Because at the moment as well, it's clutching. It's like it's trying to get best players on the pitch because clearly it's in a bad moment. And I understand that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we end up playing a back 3 at Brentford. And ironically, if we do, it'll be same thing. It'll be negative shit. And it might actually, you know what I said about Schade against Bournemouth?
Correct.
Under that circumstance, space is not going to be there in that way if we play like, it won't be back 3, it'll be back 5. So it'd be another ugly game Thursday night. And it might even, under that circumstance, it might go away. It might go our way. If you said we play a back 3, I actually say I probably think we win.
It's interesting. You've got Brentford away, Sunderland at home, Bournemouth away, West Ham at home, Burnley away. In any normal circumstance, you might want a bit of something of that because those fixtures aren't bad, but not the way you're playing right now. And I don't even know who would bother getting.
Richarlison is actually playing all right at the moment, but I want you to think about this logically and think that it's Brentford Thursday, it's Sunderland Wednesday, it's Bournemouth Wednesday, and then actually for us there's a very important FA Cup game against Aston Villa the following Saturday as well. Richarlison is not starting all of those games. My best guess would be that he probably doesn't start at home to Sunderland. Would be my best guess because it's kind of the one in the middle. And that also makes me think maybe back 3 because he could play Odebear and Kudos. Odebear was great when he came on. Odebear and Kudos as the two wide players at Brentford. Play Richarlison as the 9. Gray and Benson core, or use Paulinho also was good when he came on. Right circumstance for him, just go in and kick people and win the ball, and then play the back three and Porro and Spence as wing backs. He may well do that, but yeah, in terms of Tottenham,
Not good.
Nah, there's nothing there, man.
Yeah.
Happy
totally
with the result,
that.
but not blinded by it.
No, cool. Alrighty. Do we want to cover off any questions on Twitter before we wrap this episode of James? Go on. Let me go and pull them up. I should have been
Tottenham
more prepared.
Have just emailed me the match report of the game like I wasn't there at that place yesterday. What a place. I don't need a match report. Dreadful. One. Move on.
You did say before we started recording and go on the mics that you will talk more about Selhurst Park on Tottenham, which is our podcast that we're going to cover on Wednesday.
How it gets, honestly, how that Arthur Waite stand gets a health and safety certificate, I really don't know.
Yeah. Alrighty. First question, I put a question in, James. What's in a worse state, my FPL team or my football team? I'll tell you what, it's definitely my football team. Having had a look at only being 35 points off, back up being in 400k, it's fine. That fantasy team can recover much quicker than my regular football team is going to be able to. FPL Tractor wants to know if you think football is a bit more drab this season. Teams in general seem to be heading towards a more physical, direct style. I'm struggling to enjoy games as much as I have in the past. The past few years in all divisions I've watched, there's been a nice mix, but it seems the balance has tipped.
It's interesting though, because I feel like we've been conditioned to patient build up, retain possession, influence of Spain, Barcelona stuff. Like we've kind of been conditioned to that being the kind of a right way. We might be conditioned to think more direct football in 10 years is the right way at the moment. I agree with the sentiment. I think that's largely right. I'd say I've seen a few games recently that I've really, really enjoyed. Manchester United, Bournemouth, Newcastle versus Chelsea. Been really good games. Loved the way Villa came back at the weekend from not being in it. So I think it's right. I think there's largely across most teams, there is more of a safety first aspect at the moment. I mean, perfect example, just something, I mean, it's probably more Tottenham conversation, but Tottenham's away results this season, right? I feel like it's almost like encapsulates this. So Tottenham actually now have, believe it or not, despite winning their first away game for 2 months yesterday, have the joint best away record in the league. And I think actually on goals scored, we might even be at top of an away table at the moment. If you look at Tottenham's results this season, right? So we've now won 5 away games. Okay. We only conceded 1 goal in those 5 away games, but they all have something in common. So we won at City 2-0, West Ham 3-0, Leeds 2-1, Everton 3-0, Crystal Palace 1-0. Right. We scored first in all of them. It's 4 away games we haven't won. Brighton 2-2, Newcastle 2-2, Arsenal lost, Nottingham Forest lost, got battered in those 2. What they all have in common? Didn't score first. So in the 5 games we scored first away from home, we've won, and in the 4 games we haven't won. And I feel like there's a lot. It's a lot of safety net stuff. So like if Tottenham score first yesterday, you know how Tottenham are going to play, right? If Tottenham don't score first, they haven't got the creativity to go and hurt the opponent. This isn't the case for many teams, but there's so much reliability in terms of, I think, safety first. And also because teams are so man-to-man orientated, it is making it more difficult to play through. And that's why you're getting more direct football. I largely agree with the sentiment, but I've seen a few games recently that have been very good.
Sam wants to know, is Suj still in denial about West Ham's impending relegation? I am glad to report, Sam, that the air has firmly left the balloon. The bubble has burst, whatever you want to call it. I think me, along with all West Ham fans, know that on the current trajectory, we will not be able to get out of it. And not only that, as James has already done earlier in the show, looking at the teams above us, who do we leapfrog? So everybody else
you've got to focus on yourself,
is doing so much better. My thoughts on Saturday evening were to try and familiarize myself with the championship table and then reach out to Angus McPhail, because at some point we may need to do a bit of Patreon content where he teaches me how to play Gaffer for next season, which is obviously the fantasy championship game. So yeah, no, there is no thought in my mind that we are not going to get relegated anymore. Sadly, David Hunter has a question, James,
It's
and
not
it's
that one,
not
is it?
the David Hunter. It is not David Hunter, Planet FPL David Hunter. Is it worth dropping Raya to John Victor? It's a £1.9 million saving and allows him to go from Dewsbury Hall to Cunha using free transfers. I don't think
No,
I would be doing that.
no. Okay. Scenario here: you go Victor and Dubravka. Then what I said, Sells gets his place back. Now what? Now you spent 4 transfers on goalkeepers because you probably need to find some money to get him back up to something else. No, I think those on Raya, I think at the moment you stick, right? I mean, there's lots of question marks about who will and won't play for Arsenal. You haven't got a debate about that one at the moment. If I was going to do that, I wouldn't be going all the way down to Victor John. Is he John Victor or Victor John? Victor John. I wouldn't be doing it that way at the
John
moment.
Victor.
John Victor. He could be either, couldn't he? John Victor, Big John, Big Vic, whatever. No, I wouldn't be doing that. I get it. He gets Cunha, but Cunha probably in your mind is not a long-term play anyway. Leave it be. Do you go Semenyo to Cunha at the moment? I suppose you probably do, don't you?
Yeah, with the fixtures directly in front of you, there's probably some upside.
You'd probably try it, yeah.
Yeah, if you got freeze, then definitely. I don't know if I'd do it for a hit. Right, James, are you... There's no weekender with David Hunter, so in terms of a free hit, will you be bringing one to a diff show this week?
Yeah, boy.
Or tomorrow?
I'll bring free hit and wildcard drafts on those 2 differential shows, yeah.
Yeah, so are they going out to free patrons? Is diff show tomorrow free patrons?
No. All right, you've had too much stuff this month. Pay for it, bitches.
There's quite a few people asking for punts for free hit because they've left it till Gameweek 19. They've got it left and they want to know. Give them 2 players or 3 players that you'd like to punt on free hit.
I think you probably do go Treble Manchester United, don't you? I think.
Yeah, against Wolves. Dorgu, Cunha.
Newcastle's a bit ropey in terms of rotation. It's horrible. Malik Chow would probably go in, I think, Newcastle. Probably same 3 Liverpool. I don't think, mind you, it's not till Thursday they play Leeds, is it? Frimpong probably does play again, but probably Van Dijk, Verts, Ekiteke would be the way I'd stay. 3 United to go in. I probably would go Dorgu, Dallo and Cunha, I think.
Yep.
There's a few for you.
Go on then, cool. And
Chelsea, I think, despite what I've said, I think if you're on a free here, I do think you put Palmer in. I think.
Yeah, he's well on the watch list at the moment to figure out an opportunity to get him back. Right, last question of the show, James, goes to Andrew Sands. If you could play a musical instrument, which one would it be?
Keyboard.
Why?
Because when I was in music class at school and completely uninterested, and jotting down notes on football tactics, everybody used to go into the room and smash the drums, and I just couldn't bother with it. So I used to just sit there and pretend to play the keyboard.
Pretend to play the keyboard?
Yeah, I wasn't really doing anything.
I got a rule with my kids. Got 2 boys. They're 13 and 12. The older one was playing the electric guitar and needs to pick it back up again, and the younger one was playing the drums. But the reason they picked those instruments was because those instruments, a guitar or drums, are cool to girls when you're older in life, right? If you're around a party or something, someone's got a guitar and you can pick up a guitar, that's all right. That's pretty cool. Or playing the drums is cool. Who wants to know a guy who can play the flute or the clarinet or the violin? I know I'm probably cussing out all people that play all these instruments.
Don't say anything, James.
I don't say nothing, but they ain't cool. They are not cool. So my rule was, if the kids wanted to play a musical instrument, it had to be one that would at least make them more popular with girls when they were older. So the guitar and the drums would be the one. I would say forced. I was encouraged to play the saxophone. So I learned that till I was about 14. And then first opportunity to ditch it, I did. So it would be, I'd like to be able to play the guitar, I think, James. Maybe I'll learn it later in life. The bass guitar.
I didn't hear anything you said in the last 30 seconds.
What are you thinking about?
No,
the flute.
No, it's cancelled time, mate.
Patreon listeners, this is not Patreon only content. This is your episode of Planet FPL. We'll be back at you at the end of the week, Friday. Well, I say we, James will be with David Hunter while I'm on a plane. So good luck with your Game Week 19, halfway point of the season. Hope you have a green arrow. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. Be nice to each other. Play it your way. Early. Happy New Year. Cue music, please, man child.